My name is Riitta-Liisa Valijärvi. I'm a linguist and I'm also a Finnish teacher. So I've studied Sami languages, Greenlandic, Finnish spoken in Sweden, and also I've done work on cultural studies, for example, Finnish pop lyrics. And the latest project is about heavy metal lyrics. So my colleagues, friends and PhD students, Charlotte Dosberg, Amanda Di Gioia and myself organized a conference a couple of years ago about multilingual heavy metal lyrics. So heavy metal lyrics written in languages other than English. And now sort of the end product of this journey is a book, brand new book with the title Multilingual Metal Music. And in this book, various authors look at heavy metal lyrics in different languages from sort of sociocultural, literary, and linguistic point of view. It's a heavy metal, which is a genre of rock music, and it's meant to be loud, it's meant to be extreme, it has long guitar solos, it's kind of macho, masculine, and aggressive, at least stereotypically. It's also a subculture with the black clothes and dark aesthetics. And there are lots of different subgenres within metal, like death metal, folk metal, Viking metal, and so on. And in the latest, let's say in the past 10 years, there's been this emerging field of heavy metal studies. And it's multidisciplinary, and it combines sociology, it combines popular music studies and cultural studies. And topics that have been covered are like racism in metal music circles, how metal music is received by fans and how they define themselves as metalheads. It can be about these different subgenres, and it can be also about women in metal music as therapy, metal music and Holocaust. And there is an international society for metal music studies that's fairly new, and their journal, Metal Music Studies. And there's a metal music studies book series published by Emerald. And there are annual conferences and lots of other conferences in the field. It's interesting because it's a subculture, I feel, that not all of us have access to it. And it's extreme. So we want to know more about extreme things, I believe. Also because it's fairly new and as a music genre, and it's global. So it's a global phenomenon that spreads, and there are local versions of it in different countries. So it offers fantastic opportunities for comparison, comparing the different metal cultures and songs and styles in various countries. When you choose to use a different language from English, it has to do with the folk metal, because it's a way to be authentic, the way to connect to the history of a certain country, and be I don't know, particularly Finnish or particularly Norwegian when you use the local language. And it can also be a way of being nationalistic. So that's the sort of the negative side of it, that you use your local language because you want to be pure. And represent that nation in that way. It can also be a way of trying to sound extreme, because if you use a language that's hard or others don't understand, it's more extreme. So it adds to the sound and makes it impenetrable, which is sometimes the goal, in fact, in heavy metal. And it can also be a way of creating an atmosphere. For example, one of the chapters in the book by Simon Trafford is about the use of ancient languages in metal, and that creates a certain kind of atmosphere. So not only does it link back to ancient cultures, but it creates this kind of mystical special atmosphere if you use Latin, for example. There are a few themes that sort of interconnected, and if I may take a few moments, I'm going to tell you what these themes are, because one of them is repurposing of texts. So one of the co-editors of this book is Charlotte Dosberg, who is writing a PhD about the use of Kalevala, so Finnish national epic texts in Finnish heavy metal. And we had a similar, it's in some of them more obvious in some of the chapters than in others, or some of the contributions than in others, but it's this using folk songs or folk sort of lyrics in metal. And that creates an interesting contrast where you have this kind of traditional song or lyrics that everyone knows, but you use metal music. Another sub-theme is identity. So how do you express identity through the choice of lyrics, whether it's minority identity, whether it's cultural identity, whether it's national identity. And we had sort of a chapter about Spanish medium metal and how it's always kind of in the shadow of Anglo-Saxon metal. We had Norwegian, like I said, in Norway, heavy metal is super popular, and it has to do often with Norwegian, like nature, the lyrics, and also Finland, Swedish, or the minority, how they combine influences from, or kind of find inspiration from Nordic history, but at the same time they sing in, or Finnish history, and they sing in Swedish, and it's a very interesting subtopic. Another one, which relates, like I said, they are interconnected, is how do you process bereavement? How do you process oppression and war? And also one of the songs is about Spanish medium. One of the chapters is about a Spanish medium song that's a pacifist song. So this is many people believe, it's always about battle and fighting, but actually there are many anti-war heavy metal songs. And then there's a sub-theme, which is local, global, authentic, and funny, which means that you combine this global heavy metal culture with local elements, which can be language, but it could also be like the themes about having to do with the history of a specific country. You try to be authentic through the choice of language, and often you do wordplay. So there are a lot of funny lyrics as well, like an Italian parody metal band that Carl Farrugia analyzes in his chapter. And the aim is to be funny, to entertain, and even play with the whole genre of metal and kind of turn it upside down. And the final one is this ancient languages and mythology, and that has to do with how you are, what do you do with Latin? Why do you throw it in? What's the purpose of using Latin? Why do you want to connect with these ancient cultures? And like I said, these themes are interconnected. So I don't know, the Yiddish medium bands, they used old Yiddish folk songs, but could they perhaps also be used to sort of deal with trauma? The choice, like do songs that are about authentically the Jewish, to counter these very negative, I don't know, white supremacy some metal songs. So what I enjoyed was the great variety of methods that were used. So people approach these topics from totally different angles and using different methods. There was some sort of anthropological field work with the metal band and how they sort of incorporate bereavement, the theme of bereavement in their lyrics. But then we had like studies, like statistical studies of the Latin elements in corpora. So I guess that is a surprise as well, the way which you can approach the topic. So this is a great book for researchers or scholars and students of metal music and culture, first of all, so people who want to explore the field and branch out, but also people with just the general public with an interest in, I don't know, cultural studies, music, literature, popular culture, popular music. And I would say that the chapters can be read by non-specialists and by the general public. I think they work well, some of them at least. Yeah, I said, if you're interested in Baudelaire, for example, we have a chapter how in Russian metal they use the poetry of Baudelaire. Yeah, if you're interested in parody and humor, we've got a couple of chapters on that, like one Austrian band is analyzed, and then that Italian parody band. So I think it's a nice mixture, and I think everyone can find something in the book.